So charts, and what we're going to do in this video, we'll do the charts in here, and then we'll do pivot tables in the next one. So changing a chart type. I've got some data here, first of all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a chart. So I'm going to go click on the cell in here, insert, and then I've got recommended charts. I'm going to pick a bar chart. Gives us a nice simple bar chart here. Now, actually, it had a bit of a guess in there, so I'm going to take all this stuff out for a start. Just remove that there because I didn't really want to have that in there. So let's say that I've got nothing in there and I'm going to have open up a chart. So I've got a chart here. I'm going to right click into it, and I've got my outcomes by menu here, and I'm going to select data. Select data outcomes. So select data one in here. I'm going to add in one particular data line. Now I've got these little helpful things here which are going to move me out. So I'm going to get the series name. I'm going to click on that one, and out we come. And I'm going to click on that cell there, and that gives me my chart title. And on this cell here, I'm going to drag down the data that I want. Okay, so that's put in the data there. It's called it the revenue line, and it's put that right down there. Okay, I'm going to add another one in. I'm going to go into the cell that's next to it, which is labor. In here, let me just go out of here for a second, move that along a little bit. So I'm going to come back into here, select my data, and now I've already got this one set up, so I'm going to edit it. I'm going to come into here and include my data for that. So I'll remove that one, just come back into it, add another one in. I can click on this thing to come out, go into there. The alternative thing is I could have put it, I just typed it in. I quite like to do it, actually attach it to a cell because it just is a little bit more accurate. And also you can change it around later on without having to faff around. And so you want to then drag down and collect the data that you're going to collect. And here we have then a set of our revenue on the blue and labor costs there. Now I want to have this thing here being years 1 to 9. So I'm going to have this one here as the horizontal axis labels. I'm going to come into here to edit it, press that into there, which will allow me to just drag down this data here, and you can see that that's produced there. I could have typed that in if I wanted to, but it's always easier to use this and to drag out. Okay. So let's make a start here then. So let's change it. So we'll change the chart type. So we've got our data, a chart sort of set up. We're going to change it. So we're going to right click into it. Yes, we right clicked into the chart anywhere. Up comes the little menu, change chart, and there's a change chart type. We've got lines here, bar charts going across, area ones. I don't know what stock one is. Oh yeah, it's that weird stuff of high, low, close. Don't really like those ones. So let's switch these to lines. Okay. Right, changing data series color. Okay, and all formats. So we've got a couple of ways we can change the color of a data series. So let's say we want to change this to green. We could click on the line here. We could right click on it, and up comes a bit like the formatting that we have here, and we'll change it to green. There we go. That's one way of doing it. Alternatively, let's change this one down here to label. We could right click on there. We could just right click on what's known as the legend down here. So let's change that around. We'll change that to blue. Okay, so there's two ways you can change them. You could also click on it up here, and you can change it up here. I'll change it to that. That's been fancy, that one. Yeah, quite rightly, shouldn't do that either. So we right click on that one, and let's change it to black. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. Yeah. But you notice that this legend was already here. So if I click into here now, and I'm going to delete out the legend, switch that off. Yeah. We can now come in and do that one next. So we've got our changing data series, color and format. So let's do more formats in here. We'll click on this axis here, highlight it, right click, and then we can format the axis. And what will come up is we've got options up here, which is our normal options of changing the format here. So let's say the size, let's say to 12, and to Arial. You can click on this y-axis here. So we clicked it to make it alive. Right click on it, and now we can change that one to Arial. Let's say make that a bit bigger. We can go up using that, or we can go down. Okay. Now let's say instead I'm wanting to format the axis, and up comes our format axis here, and I want to change the numbers, and instead I'm going to use, as we've done in the previous one, our sort of formatting of numbers. We'll change that to percentages for some strange reason. We'll go for percentages, dates will give us whatever those dates were. If you remember that a number one is a day, and let's flip back to numbers here. Okay, and we've got the comma separators if you wanted them in there, but we'll have no decimal places. Okay, so close this one up. So change the data series, color, and/or format. Yep, so we formatted away there. Chart labeling. Okay, so that's what I would say is that this is changing around a bit because I've used a little equation. So you'll notice if I press F9, this is bouncing around. Just so you know why it's doing that. To create the actual data, I produced an equation, which is basically this ran between here. It's basically going 1,000 revenue multiplied by 1 plus pick a random number between there and there, and that's how it was working. But obviously what it does do is then it moves it around whenever I press F9 and refresh it. If I wanted to, I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to paste special, just as a bit of a format. I'm going to go back to values here, and I've switched that now to being hard-coded numbers, and if I now F9 away, it doesn't change. Right, chart labeling, scales and axes. So I've clicked into here, and I click on the plus. Yeah, now I've got various things. So let's go for axis titles. So I'm going to go and click to the right there, primary horizontal and primary vertical. And you can see what's happened here is I've got two little text boxes here. I've then got to sort of remove that. So I'm going to remove what's written in there and write the year. And then here, I'm going to remove what's in here. And I'm going to put pounds. So that's how you get your axis titles up. And now I removed the legend, but the legend is here in this add to the chart element. So I'm going to put the legend in here, and no, it will normally when you just click on it, it will come up into the right hand side here. But you might want that legend at the top, or you might want it on the left, and likely on the bottom. I quite like leaving mine on the bottom there. So that's our legend coming in here, and let's have a chart title. Chart title. So we right click into here, we put the plus. Here, and here's our chart titles, and I'm going to have it above chart. Well, you can I'll go above chart. Surprisingly, I think it's moved around a little bit. Let me click on that bit there, and just drag that down a touch there, so it's back underneath it. New versus labor cost. Okay. How I did that if I didn't like where it was is I moved this around here. So see these little circles here, you can move it around. So I'm going to move that to there. So that's how we put in our, so we add in elements of the thing over here. We can put in like data labels if you wanted to, and so there's our data labels if you don't like having that. Yeah. And we can have a little data table if you want to at the below it, and so those kind of things that you can have. Right. Chart production. Well, we produced our chart production, and we've got the different types that we can have. So I've now produced one, so I'm going to change chart type. But let's just produce a chart, and we go into here, which is insert, recommended charts, our chart. There we go. And then we start doing all the things that we did with the select data and what have you. Then moving and resizing them. So if I left click on it, you can see as I left click, all these little circles have appeared, this border. And if I just click on it and move it around, I can move it around. If it says I want to make it bigger, I can use the little circles where I put my left click on the little circle, and I can move it around like that. So that's how we move around our charts. We'll make them bigger, resize them. So that's how we've moved and resized our charts. We just go on the little circles and move them around like that. And if you want to move it in total, we click in it. See how the little 4 arrows are moving, move it around, and we just move it around without, keep our finger on the left mouse and move it around. Okay, now we'll do trend lines here as well. So in here, we've got a plus, and we can see that the trend line comes in there. And we can have a trend line on revenue. There's a little trend line on revenue. Or we can go and trend line on labor costs. And you have some other ones. So I've gone linear there, but let's go exponential on revenue, and see how it's got a bit of a bend now. If it's got an exponential bend, so that's how we can add in our trend lines. So there's our trend lines there. And so that is charts for this one, and then in the next one we'll do pivot tables. Thanks for listening.